Hello everyone, welcome to Crackzat. This is Priyasha Das, and we are having our first session on emotional quotient for the XGMT 2024. And the questions which I've been talking about repeatedly in my previous videos as well about XGMT, that there were 7 questions which got repeated. Some questions are from this as well, so I have deliberately repeated it over here also so that you practice a little more and get an idea what type of questions are. Also, there is a disclaimer for all of you. Before you get started with this question, there will be many folks out of you who would have a kind of a feeling that, Mom, these are really very simple questions, don't you feel so? And recently we have given that and it feels like, oh my god, these are nothing. But let me tell you that here the XGMT offers you only 30 to 35 minutes for a total of 40 questions, not only from EQ but also from the general awareness. So both the sections included, let's say you have to answer some 40 questions, both included 25 and 15, or maybe the distribution might vary a little bit as well every year. So these all things will come within a time frame of 30 to 35 minutes. So that means you will not even get 1 minute per question. So that's why the important part is not realizing, oh, how easy these questions are, but the important part is practicing how to do these questions faster. So in this video also, I'll not discuss that why a particular option is wrong or why a particular option is right. I'll just highlight the parts which will help you realize and understand how to go about it. And don't worry, this is just part 1. There are more to come up, okay? So let's get started with this. Now, the first question which you see on your screen says that you have been denied the promotion by management for which you were eligible. Moreover, one of your juniors have been promoted, so you are emotionally upset and feel frustrated. So what will you do right now? So currently, if you say that going to talking to the boss and reconsideration of the management decision sounds quite understandable, but is it the perfect one or not? We'll see. Start abusing is definitely not happening, so B is out of the game. Then we go to moving to the court, taking it to the legal matters without concerning or without talking to the immediate seniors is not a correct answer. And identify your shortcomings and try to improve your performance is ethically the most correct thing to do before you even go and complain to someone else to reconsider something. Whether you really are appropriately fine or not is what you have to check first. So EQ wise, this is the first answer. Now the second question is, a freshly recruited professional graduate joins your organization as a management trainee, and after a few weeks she complains that she has not been taken seriously by her subordinates. So what will you suggest her? Will you ask her to handle it herself? That is just shaking off the responsibility from your shoulders, so this will not be considered correct. Tell her that her behavior should be should be ignored. Now see, ignorance is never an option, remember, in EQ, so you better don't go by that. Ask her to be bold, face up the challenges and overcome the problem is nowhere helping her. Remember, this is what we generally do when anyone comes to ask help, but then the reality is not that. Remember, EQ are socially desirable answers, so you have to stick to that. आपको यहाँ पर अभी अपने personality changes करने से ज़्यादा focus अपने correct answers tick करने पर होना चाहिए. So therefore you definitely go and go for the best option which has the words like empathize, figuring out, working together and things like that. So this makes it the perfect option. So when you are also doing it in the exam, आपको भी एकदम fast furious way से आगे बढ़ना है. So these kind of keywords will help you a lot. Okay, you will not get even 1 minute to read and understand the question. At the workplace, due to some misunderstanding, your colleague stops talking to you, so you are convinced that there was no fault of yours. So how would you react? You would wait till he comes, take the initiative, go forward and talk to him? Yes, because that shows some amount of ownership, and in EQ, if you are showing this amount of ownership, you are resembling leadership. So therefore option B is the best option, but we'll still check the other options. Let things take their own time to improve. Again, it's kind of ignorance, so we'll not let that happen. And ask someone to mediate is like the most common thing we generally do, but then not really in the EQ answers. Okay, coming to number 4, you get into an argument with your colleague and end up attacking him or her personally. Later you realize that you never intended to tarnish the image of your colleague. How will you handle such an ugly situation? Again, you have to give the most socially desirable answer. The first thing which you can think and do is, what triggered off the argument? Sit calmly and think about it. Was it possible to control your anger? All these kind of self reflection is actually what a person should do in real life, and that's why it is the socially desirable answer. But look about option B, avoid future arguments and leave the room, is not not a option for present solution. Apologize to your colleague is definitely a good option, and many people might take it thinking that it is socially desirable answer. But then just realize that you didn't intended to tarnish the image. So if you didn't intended to tarnish the image, maybe apologizing immediately is not the immediate right solution. Before that, you should actually reflect upon your own self and think whether it is right or wrong. Then coming to continuing with the argument is definitely not going to be the option. So therefore, option A is the most best option present over here. Now come down to, imagine you are an insurance salesperson selling insurance policies, and you approach a number of prospective clients who slam the door on your face and refuse to buy your policies. What would you do? Number one, you will blame yourself and stop the work of the day. Not a good job. Reassess your capabilities as an insurance salesperson. That's what everyone should do. Even after a bad examination, you should think back that what went wrong and what are my areas of expertise and what is something which I'm not able to do good at. So reassessing your capabilities is definitely a good option, but we will not finalize it until we read all the options. Come out with fresh strategies to overcome similar situations in future. Well, that sounds quite positive. Okay, that really sounds quite positive, but the thing which you need to keep in mind is that you will have to figure out the answer a little tactfully. Now contact the clients again some other day might not be a very instant option to take, so you have to decide between whether you should reassess your capabilities as an insurance salesperson or come out with fresh strategies to overcome similar situations in future. Now if you just come out with new strategies, that does not give you the a surety that you will be successful again. But maybe if you reassess your capabilities, this is the instant solution, or this is an instant step which you should take, and therefore option B is the right answer. Moving next, we have, you are leading a team project with one team member consistently failing to meet the deadline. So how would you handle the situation? You will confront the team member in public sitting to address the issue directly, or you will ignore the problem all at all, discuss the issue privately, understanding their challenges. Well, this word is the most favorite word of empathetic, sympathetic people. And yes, you want to prove yourself as one of them. तो जब आपको खुद को ऐसा प्रूव करना ही है, तो जैसे ही आपको ये दिखा कि आप सामने वाले को अंडरस्टैंड करना चाह रहे हो, you know the answer is this. Okay, blame, blame, ये सारे वर्ड्स तो हो ही नहीं सकते आंसर में. blame, ignore, directly public में बेइज्जती, ना ना, ऐसा थोड़ी करते हैं लोग. Then coming to option 7, though it's the bare reality of our job settings, but then still desirable is not that. Your friend confides in you about a personal struggle they are facing, so what would you do? So if someone comes and tells you about their personal struggle, what is the most appropriate thing you guys should do? Offer support and empathy, and keeping the information confidential. Quite logical. Disregard, these keywords are so bad. Share the information with others, no. Provide unsolicited advice, no. Keywords, I told you, right? Option A is the right answer. You receive constructive criticism from a colleague about your work. How do you respond? So किसी ने आपको एक अच्छा constructive बात बोली, but then of course criticize किया, then how would you react? Become defensive. Keyword defensive. Forget about this being the answer. Reflect on the feedback. Oh my god, that's something which everyone should do, but no one does. Okay, appreciate the input, consider how to improve. Of course, that's the right answer, but let's see what's wrong in the other options. Ignore, wrong. Criticize your colleague in return, never. Let's go to ninth question. Your team successfully completes a project, but your manager gives credit solely to one team member. That happens with all the working guys, right? All the work experience folks have experienced it once in their life. So how would you react? You will publicly express, wrong. Never do that. Keep quiet and resent the manager's decision. This is like doing nothing, very similar to ignore. Don't do that. Privately discuss it with your manager, seek clarification and also recognition for the entire team. So you are not just asking for yourself, but asking for the entire team. Ban gaye na mahan, de diya na correct answer. Well done. And criticize is the word which you're not supposed to do. Next, coming to the 10th question, you have been working on a cross-functional project with the team members from different departments. During a team meeting, there is a disagreement on the approach to be taken. So how would you handle this? You are already working in a diverse environment. So if there will be some amount of disagreement, how would you handle it? You will engage in a heated argument. That's a wrong keyword, guys. Remain silent, ignorance. Facilitate a constructive discussion. Well, that's the word, my boy. Encourage everyone to share their perspectives. Of course, this is the right answer. And blame, no blaming. So this is the way how you're supposed to answer these EQ questions in less than even 30 seconds, so that you can save good amount of time for your GK section as well. And someone asked me in the comment section that can we go back to the questions which we haven't answered within the section time? So yes, you can. Number 11, you are a manager and one of your team members is consistently underperforming. They seem demotivated and affecting the entire team's productivity. So how would you address this issue? Publicly talk to him is never taken into consideration. Ignorance, never taken into consideration. Blaming, never done. So what we will do, we will have a private conversation, understand their concerns and collaboratively find a solution. Very similar to one of the questions we already did, right? So this is showing you that the same question can come in different ways. You have to be ready to grasp the answer just by using the keywords. You are leading a virtual team with the members in different time zones. So miscommunications have led to delays and misunderstandings in the project. So how would you address this situation? Blame. That's a wrong keyword. Ignore. Again. Facilitate a virtual meeting, discussing the communication challenges, encouraging open dialogue, establishing clear guidelines is what you're supposed to do. And remember, these answers would again be cross-checked during your PI round, so make sure you're ready for this. Option D is instruct the virtual team openly about the complexities of working over different time zones and to follow the rules. You're instructing someone. So giving instructions is not as good as facilitating a discussion. So therefore option C is more sensible. Number 13, a close colleague is going through a difficult personal situation and seems withdrawn at the work. So how would you approach this situation? Again, ask them to start focusing solely on the work is again instructing them and asking them to do what they are currently not able to do nicely does not feel empathetic, right? So of course not the answer. Gossip about, that's the wrong keyword. Offer support and empathy is what I'm looking for in my answer. So without even reading the rest of the answer, option, I would go ahead with this answer. Avoiding the colleague is definitely making no sense. Question number 14. Your team is facing tight deadlines and the stress levels are high. And a team member makes a mistake that impacts the project. So how would you react to it? Address the team member privately is what you should definitely do. Understanding and working together to rectify his mistakes is the most appropriate answer here. What makes the other options wrong? Ignore public and criticize them openly, very similar to publicly blaming them. Okay, even if it leads him to the urgency of the situation or something like that, it's still not justificable. Always remember that EQ does not want you to tell them what is generally done in the companies, versus they always want you to tell them what you should be done in the companies. Like abusive bosses is a very common phenomena all across, but this is not expected. So you are supposed to answer only the expected circumstances. Moving towards the last question for the day, guys. In a team meeting, a colleague takes credit for your idea. अकेले में मिल बताता हूँ. This should be the real thing, but we are not supposed to give this answer. Presenting it as their own, how would you handle this situation? Address the issue privately. Again, that sounds correct to me. Expressing your concerns and seeking the fair acknowledgement of your contribution. कि भैया जो मैंने किया है चुपचाप जाके सबको बोलो कि मैंने किया है. This is sensible. Publicly confronting the colleague is again, देखो, this makes real sense. To be really honest, in reality, if someone takes credit in front of you, you're supposed to say that, excuse me, what's happening? But then you're not supposed to do that in your EQ answers. So option B is wrong. Ignoring is again not a solution, and criticizing openly is again not a solution. So therefore, the most logical answer here is option A, which is privately issue को address कीजिए, उनको समझाइए, उनको अपने concerns बताइए and उनसे fair acknowledgement मांगिए. बट दिस रियलिटी में क्या होता है? कोपचे में मिल. All right, so with this we end the session for today. We did 15 very interesting questions, and the first 5 to 7 questions which I showed you had 4 repeating questions which came last year in EQ, which were already discussed in my video. So those 2 links of the videos in which I have discussed the question paper, I would be putting that in the description box as the end, as well as the comment section. Go and check those 2 videos out, and I'll be coming up with more sessions on EQ, GK, verbal as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. And if you have already, then please share this video. And one thing which you all should do is like it and comment below that you have seen it. You know, your attendance in the comment section boosts up my energy and I feel like नहीं यार, बहुत लोग हैं जो कि देख रहे हैं, बहुत लोग हैं जो dependent है इस चीजों पर. So I will make sure that no matter what happens, I'll take out time and I'll do this for you people. I love you all and please start studying really hard. XGMT is not a difficult exam, it's an easy exam, but you need to know where to focus. That's all. With this, I'll take your leave. Thank you so much. Study hard and good night. Yes, because the time I'm recording it is night. Good night.